Hello, everyone. My name is K.M. McLean, and I am the author of the Justice Hannah Miracle novel series. I am a North Carolina native, and I have been an educator for more than 30 years, um, and decided in my latter years to write a romance story that is near and dear to me. Um, as a young child, I often fantasized about a lot of things. And for some reason, I was not interested in dolls and toys like your average kid. I was more like a dreamer that had a story rolling in my head that as a young kid, I wasn't sure what that story was, but it kept repeating itself. And I'm a firm believer anything you dream and it repeats itself is something you should do. I had no clue that it would be in a novel series. Like I said, I am a history teacher in high school, and so I just thought I just chalked it up to that's just some fantasy that I have in my head. And then in 2020, we went home for because of COVID and teaching from home had its own experience. It was a little weird, but however, we adapted. And in my free time, seeing that moment, I had a lot of it. That besides trying to create a flower garden in the front yard, I decided to put my finger to keyboard and I began the story that had been churning in my head for more than 40 years. Um, uh, I went back to 1992 to start this series because that was one of my most favorable and fun years while in college. I was completing my junior year in college and beginning my senior year, the fall of 1992. And in those time frames, as a young 21, 22-year old woman, you have the world at the tips of your fingers. You believe you can conquer all things. You're willing to take the risk for yourself to make sure that you get out there. And I had no clue that years later, more than 30 years later, that I would begin a novel series about that year. Uh, I would not entail my own life, even though as a writer, you cannot help but put aspects of some of your experiences in your writing. At least that's what I've found as a fictional novelist. And I love the world of fiction. I was an avid reader as a young kid. Um, I loved the Curious George series when I was like a third grader. And then, of course, I loved the Judy Blume series. Her writing was always fun and and took me in a world of fantasy. I could almost envision the things she wrote, and I wanted to emulate uh, that type of writing skill. I'm a local writer, and I'm a self-published writer, and I kind of like that because I keep control of creativity. I stay true to the story as I know it. Um, I battled at one point with the language I would use. Would I make it realistic or would I paint a picture that you would have to guess? But when I realized I'm dealing with 21 and 22 and young adults under the age of 35, remembering how when we got angered, the words we would use that we probably shouldn't use, and how we tripped over our own feet, making mistakes, but then getting up and dusting ourselves off, and trying to fix a situation, learning from our mistakes, and I had fun with that. The first thing I loved about it is having creative control over my covers. My first book that I'm going to show you, Awakening Justice. I love that eye and color because that's just what came to my head. When you're talking about someone being awakened, that's a beautiful eye, and it looks as if she's awakened to a lot that's happened in life. I chose the color because I made her life very colorful, full of events, both positive and negatives, things that would anger her, things that would make her smile. She's very truthful with the world and what goes on in her mind of fantasy. And she fantasizes behind this young man that she's never met, but she lives in the world of fantasy a lot. And I enjoyed the creative control and having fun, taking her from one extreme to the other, giving her attributes at a young age that most people don't achieve or whatever. But in the world of fiction, I've learned you can actually do that. So Awakening Justice was my first baby that I still am in awe of. And I love the way the story in this one, I give the background of who Justice Miracle is, what she thinks, how she feels, what made her who she became, who she is. And I made the story, I left it open where you'll learn who she becomes. And it's like going through a journey of life with her, starting at the age of 21, all the way up until we finished it. I won't give you that one because we'll carry on with that later on. And then my second novel was, of course, A Gift for Justice. And she's off into her world. She's on her internship, and it takes place in the month of December. I enjoyed this cover because Christmas is one of my favorite holidays, and it's centered around Christmas. And it's a young girl so far away from home at Christmas time and is used to being home with mom, dad, and her siblings. And for the first time in her life, she's amongst strangers in a strange place and having to adapt to different things. And she's uncomfortable. And I love her uncomfortableness because being uncomfortable sometimes pushes you towards who you really are. It helps you to grow or whatever. And I see growth in this. And then the romance is just beautiful. How the budding romance, it begins here. She does deal with some tragedies. However, she perseveres and she does have great accomplishments and she embarks upon a love story for the ages. And the third novel that was just released June 1st is also in Kindle form. Is from J2 with Love. And in this story, she it goes deeper into her love affair with her true love. I love the cover. I had been looking for a couple like this, and I was unable to find it. But just like God, He shows it to you right when you need it, and it was the perfect cover for this book from J2 with Love. In my novel series, I love the characters. I fall in love. I was always in love with the protagonist. I was always in love with the main character, Justice Miracle, because I can relate to her so greatly. Learning who she is, how she handles things, being honest about her spiritual life and how she governs herself. But then as I started writing, I fell in love with Shayna. Shayna is definitely the biggest antagonist in this novel series. I love writing about her. I love making her seem like she is so much out of her mind. Um, I have no boundaries with the things that she is capable of doing and has no problem doing. Um, so Shayna has somewhat become my favorite in a weird sense because she is the worst ever. That woman will not stop. She's almost relentless. But what I love about she and Justice is that Justice is a formidable opponent for her, and she's able to counteract whatever Shayna throws at her. So those are my two favorites right now. Um, in my book series, I also deal with mental health. There's a character that is grappling with his sanity, dealing with issues from his childhood that are spilling over into his young adult life. And he's been able to hide them for so long, but after a certain amount of time, it just, there's no more hiding it or whatever. It just topples over into his life. I've enjoyed writing his story as well, and look forward to triumph in his character as well. Um, it centers around one of my favorite sports. I love basketball. I have loved it since I was a kid. I cannot play a lick of basketball, but I enjoy watching it. I enjoy analyzing it. I grew up, of course, in the 80s and the 90s, and I saw some of the greats do it. And you know, I created a fictional character by the name of Jason Jackson, and of course, in my brain, he's a culmination of every one of my favorite basketball players rolled into one. I love his character as well. He's such a great person, or whatever, and he's able to persevere as well. This has been a joy to be in the world of romantic fiction, to see myself as a novelist, a writer. It's still weird to hear me say it, but it is true. Once again, I am a local writer. And I'm a self published writer who's enjoying herself. I'm in the midst of book 4, and the series will carry on until it can't carry on anymore. But I just want you to know I have poured my heart and soul into writing these books for you guys, hoping that you enjoy reading them, that it gives you a bit of reprieve from real life. Whatever, we all need a break from this reality, this world we're living in, and I that's what I hoped my books will do for you. And once again, I've enjoyed having this moment with you on my YouTube channel. I'm KM McLean, and I'm signing off, and I hope you enjoy the novels. Be blessed.